Hey Cozy Besties, it's Joel, and today I'm going to be going over some of my reading/content resolutions for 2024. It's been quite a while since I've done like a sit-down, casual, conversational video, and I kind of miss them a bit. I do have a video that I want to do on anticipated reads coming later on, but I also think doing a video where I go over like my reading goals more specifically, kind of what I actually want to achieve next year in my reading and other avenues of content, I feel like would be pretty good as well. But before we get into all of that, I hope you're all doing very well and that you're looking after yourselves. If you've yet to get a drink of water or your beverage of choice, I would highly recommend you go and do so because we must remain well and hydrated and also taken care of. And if you've yet to check out my other socials, I would highly recommend you go and do so because I post some extra content that you're not gonna see here. I used to say just bookish content, but now I do gaming content as well, so bookish no longer really applies. And if you've yet to check out our Cozy Kingdom Discord, I would highly recommend you go and do so. It's a chaos party every single day, but also it's fun, cozy, and everyone's so welcoming. Like, just join, say hello, and become part of our amazing community. And also come and join our favorite book club, the Book Explorers Tavern, where each month we explore a different genre of book in order to explore everything that literature has to offer. I really want to get into the reading goals first before I more specifically get into the goals that I want to do for content next year. I haven't really been active on Goodreads Storygraph this year because I really feel like my reading has been very like hit and miss. This year has really like tested me in terms of like reading because there will be moments where I'm reading like so many books and then there'll be like a month where I read nothing. And then I feel really bad because I set my Goodreads goal at the beginning of the year to 100 books. Safe to say, I don't think I've accomplished that this year, but I definitely feel like I need to stop setting such high goals for myself. The gifted kid in me is kind of like disappointed that I didn't reach this really high amount of books. I've done a lot of slower reading this year. It's been really nice. There are some books that I do feel like I've taken more time with because I've wanted to stay in that world for just a bit longer, wanted to think about things, wanted to contemplate things for a bit of extra time, and I think that's also pretty fine as well. For next year, I think I'm gonna set my goal for about 24 books, which is like 2 every month, and it's a very small goal for me because I read more than 2 books every month, but it's a goal that I feel like is really easily attainable so that if I do exceed 24 books, I can even then extend the goal further because I feel like if I start small and build my way up, I will feel a lot more accomplished. Plus, it means that I've consistently reached that Goodreads goal, and I feel like that's a lot better for me instead of setting a really high number from the get-go and feeling really bad when Goodreads says I'm behind by like 8 to 10 books because I just haven't read for a month. Now I'm trying to incorporate a lot more hobbies in my life. I definitely feel like I'm not always going to have the time to read that amount of books every month. My first goal for the year is basically just to be more intentional with my reading and focus more so on the books that I'm reading rather than the amount of books that I want to read. The second thing that I want to do in 2024 is actually start a reading journal, and I wanted to do this early in the year when I saw Haley Pham's reading journal, but I kind of held off on that because I was still using my Notion to like catalog all of the books that I read. But I definitely think that next year doing a reading journal will be very beneficial for me because I haven't really been doing a lot of like physical art stuff in quite some time, and when I was younger I had a bullet journal and I had like a Bujo Tumblr where I was like posting all my bullet journal spreads, and I just remember a lot of the stuff that I used to do with like lettering and stickers and like bullet journal layouts and stuff, and I really do miss that, and I miss the way that I used to be able to be creative in that sense. And so I feel like having a reading journal where I'm able to like write inside the book like my thoughts about the book and like any potential any potential reflections that I have on those books, I feel like would be so awesome, and it would really allow me to flex those creative muscles again. I think it's really nice to take the time after reading a book to really like reflect on what you've read through journaling. I'm already kind of doing that, but I feel like the journal will help solidify that entirely. Just seeing everyone's journal spreads on like Instagram, Pinterest and stuff really makes me inspired, and I just want to do it. So the next thing then is finishing series that I've started, because I am really bad at starting series and then just like not finishing it because books have come out and then I'm like, oh, I really need to continue on with that, and then I just don't. I've still yet to read a destination called Peace. I also still need to continue on with the Bone Season series, but I know there's the new like revised editions coming out next year, so I'm probably gonna wait for that and then reread them all together. I still need to finish Number in the Ashes, which I literally started back in like 2020 before I even started this booktube channel, and it's what got me to start this booktube channel, so I feel like I need to finish that series for, you know, full circle moment for me. I think one of my biggest reader flaws is literally starting series and then never finishing them and then forgetting about them. And leading on from that, I think something else that I want to do next year is include more audiobooks in my book recommendations, because I feel like I speak so much about like print books and like I've started to include more ebooks in there as well, but I definitely feel like audiobooks is something that I need to incorporate more, like incorporating who narrates the books and like whether it was good on audio if I had read it, and giving more detailed reviews on that as well. And speaking of audiobooks, I do have a very quick message from the sponsor of today's video, so I'm going to pass on over to the sponsor Joel in order to tell you all about that. I'd like to talk about Audible, who very kindly sponsored today's video so that I can talk about David Copperfield, the latest Audible original to be hitting their service. Based off of Charles Dickens' beloved tale and, in his words, his favourite child, this production features actors like our future Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa, Helena Bonham Carter, Theo James, Indira Varma, and many more. This is the story of the eponymous David Copperfield as we follow his journey from infancy all the way to adulthood through his many journeys, trials, and tribulations. So if you'd love to listen to this, then be sure to use the link in my description where new members will find this Audible exclusive title included with their subscription, along with a credit that they can use to redeem against any title to keep forever, to listen to anytime, anywhere. And so now that we've covered that, another thing that I want to do in 2024 is exploring more genres and more specifically subgenres of fiction, because I've done a little bit of it in 2023 and 2022 when I was doing like romance reading vlogs, etc. But I want to start exploring genres that I don't really read. So that's like crime and non-fiction. Like I don't really read a lot of non-fiction. I do when it's relevant to research, but I don't read it outside of that. But I think there's such like a potential for non-fiction. But also crime. I want to start reading a lot more crime novels because it's not really a genre that I've wanted to get into. I don't know if it's because I'm not interested in it or I've never found a story that has interested me, but I would be intrigued to see how it would work, what things there are to expect from crime books. I think that would be quite interesting to see. And then leading into the subgenres, I would love to read more specific like themes and tropes within fiction, so, like romance, for example, like hockey romances, given, I mean, you know, the controversies with the hockey romance girlies at the minute, reading books with the only one bed trope, or, you know, like portal fantasies. I definitely feel like having specific vlogs for them would be quite interesting. But then also on the flip side, another thing that I want to do is read more of the books that I love. Like this year, I've read a bit of fantasy, but I don't think I read as much fantasy as I wanted to. I mean, I had plans to read Brandon Sanderson this year, and they kind of all like fell flat immediately given a lot of things that have happened in my life this year. I also kind of want to try and read the Wheel of Time series sometime next year. It's definitely something that I am intrigued to read and intrigued to like get my claws into because of the Amazon Prime series that's out right now, and I'm like this close to just starting it and then reading the book after, but I'm not sure. I am not sure. I would just love to read more like high fantasy books, more translated fiction, more horror as well, because horror is quickly becoming one of my favorite genres as well. And dark academia as well. Like I've read some dark academia, but I haven't read as much. And so I feel like one of the very first videos that I'm going to be doing next year is like a dark academia reading vlog. Another thing that I actually want to do that I hadn't really considered until I started reading some of them this year is I really want to start reading more self-published books, because there were a few books that I've read this year that were self-published that I absolutely fell in love with. And I've majorly read traditionally published authors on this channel, which has been great, but also potentially does a disservice to self-published authors who don't have the marketing budget that some traditionally published authors may have. And so I feel like I definitely want to start incorporating more self-published works into my reading next year. I know some of my friends are coming out with their own self-published books, so I'd love to support them as well next year. But then also just like finding self-published books that people can read and like supporting those authors as well. It's just something that I've grown a lot more conscious of in recent months and something that I'm going to start doing better in. So I definitely feel like championing more self-published books is something that I would love to do next year. Something else that is a BookTube staple, but something that I haven't really been incorporating is themed book recommendations. Those types of videos do quite well on YouTube because people are always looking for book recommendations, but I've never really done a book recommendations video. I think for the past like 3 years that I've done this, I feel like I've never really felt experienced enough or capable enough to give book recommendation lists. And then I've also been worried that someone's not gonna like a book that I recommended, and then I'm gonna feel really bad and then never want to speak again. This year has really been a lot of growth for me, and I feel like I've just realized that like some people aren't gonna like the books that I recommend. I may not have all of the books that necessarily fit in a specific theme, but I'm speaking from my own experiences, and when I recommend books, people can recommend me books back, and then I can read them and be like, oh, I would totally recommend this book as well. I feel like I just need to be like, this is a recommendation list for this point in time. I feel like having that mindset does me a lot better in terms of like recommending books. And so yeah, I think I just needed to get over kind of the fear of recommending books to people. And like, yeah, some of the books I recommend may be like already wildly popular, and some of the books that I recommend may not be known by anyone. And so I feel like as long as someone gets at least one book out of my recommendation videos, then that would be fine. Then we start leading more into like the content side of things, but still being a lot more bookish. So for the minute, I think that I want to definitely prioritize long form content for like more analytical reviews and like longer reviews, because ever since starting TikTok earlier this year, I've definitely become a lot quicker and a lot more concise, because you can only fit so much in a short form video, and like Instagram still doesn't let you upload reels more than like 90 seconds, which I think is absolutely stupid. And I think in some places that has kind of like bled over over into the YouTube side where I've been like a bit more quick with my reviews when I could really be more analytical, kind of like in a video essay style, but like not in a video essay style, basically allowing my like academician side of things to kind of do its bit to give my reviews a little edge. I think being able to be more analytical with my reviews would be quite great, and it's not always about like the themes and stuff. I could literally be going into like a character analysis and analyzing the tropes or the world, so I definitely feel like YouTube will be the place to like have more in-depth deep reviews on stuff, whilst then TikTok, Instagram, and hopefully YouTube Shorts, because I definitely want to start posting more shorts, will be more so for like the kind of quick reviews. This also does mean my videos do have the potential to run on for a bit longer, but I feel like in some instances that's okay, because a lot of videos that run long have a purpose for being long. Like they make sure they capture your attention in each and every bit of the video, which is something that I think I can get better at doing, especially when it comes to like marking out the story of a video and my filmmaking skills. I'm like a sim. I'm gonna go on a side thing, but like I feel like being a content creator is very much like being a sim, because you're like incorporating so many skills: filmmaking, editing, color grading, computing, like social media, all of this kind of stuff. Like I learned pixel art for this channel. Being a neurodivergent content creator, you really start to incorporate a lot of different skills, and like my skill bars are just filling up and stuff. But yeah, and so all of this is basically say that next year I really want to create more like long form content that captures your attention, that's a little bit cinematic, that really reinforces my love of literature and other things, gives in-depth book reviews, and goes in depth into other content as well, but then also makes you feel like you want to be part of the Cozy Kingdom, makes you want to feel part of our community, and just encourages you to like pick up a book, play a game, or do something that makes you feel happy. That's basically the vibe that we're going for next year. But at the same time, I definitely want to be more chaotic and unconventional. Like there are definitely some video ideas that I have that are definitely within the bookish sphere, but are like unconventional in terms of the fact that I aspire to be someone like the Sophia Nagard of book YouTube, with like experimenting with cool things like every so often, being like, I'm gonna do this fun experiment because I saw it and it looks fun and I want to do it. Really being that kind of cozy, I don't want to say librarian because I own books and I don't borrow them from a library, but I want to be like your cozy curator. Oh, hey cozy besties, I'm Joel. I'm your cozy curator of literature, games, and so much more. That's iconic. That is iconic, let me tell you. And now we get into more of like the content side of things. I want to diversify my content a lot more. I've seen it already on like TikTok and Instagram, where I've been delving more so into like gaming, and I feel like I just have so many ideas that definitely next year doing it at a pace that like allows me to do it on a regular basis rather than doing like a burst of content and then disappearing for a while. But I feel like I want that diversification to apply to YouTube as well. But then also leading on from that, another thing that I really want to do next year is Twitch streaming. I'll have it linked down below, but I'll also have my Twitch name here, but I really want to start Twitch streaming next year because it's something that I've been thinking about doing for the past year, and a lot of you seem really on board with me streaming, and I've started to collate parts lists for my PC. I think I'm going to stream like Genshin Impact because I've never played that before and I've been waiting until I start streaming to play it, so I feel like Genshin will be one of the games. I definitely want to do like a playthrough of like Dragon Age or like Baldur's Gate. I feel like would be quite fun to do on stream. I also want to do like Sims because I feel like Sim streaming, like Sim Sundays or like Sim days would be quite fun. I feel like it's just another way for us to like connect as a community. Like I'm playing games, you're giving me helpful pointers, or we're having chaos together, and it's something that I just want to do for fun. It's just gonna be so amazing. But the final thing that I want to do next year is finally finish my book and hopefully query and get an agent for it, because I really want to be able to start the process of traditionally publishing my book, and I feel like it's going to be amazing. But for all of you that don't know, I've been working on a gothic dark academia novel for the past 2 years called Watch Us Bend, Watch Us Break, or Wub Wub. It follows 4 Welsh students at a Welsh university who, whilst researching the decay of magic, inadvertently summon a vengeful ghost that uncovers a conspiracy that undoes everything they know about magic, themselves, and a lot more. I have absolutely loved working on this book with my 4 main characters, and I am having some art commissioned of them, and if I do have any sneak peeks I can show you, I'll do so here. The love that a lot of you have given this book has meant so much to me, and I really cannot wait to, one, reveal like this book fully to you. Now that I've been working on it for so long, I just know that it is the story that I've been meaning to write, and it is the story that I have to write. That is basically everything, all of my resolutions for next year in terms of like reading and content and stuff, and I feel like now that I've spent this year kind of getting my life in order, getting things into a place where I feel like I can really start being more creative again, I just feel a lot more optimistic and happy, and that I feel like next year it's just gonna feel so revitalizing to like create content. And it's not gonna be a new phase, but I definitely feel like it's going to be like a refreshed phase 3, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, thank you for joining me on like my little spiel today. I don't really remember what I've been saying for half of this time. But if you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, be sure to click that subscribe button so that you're notified whenever I upload next. I'll have all of my social medias in the description down below for you, so you can follow me on every single other platform, and also come and join our Discord and join our book club as well for all of the fun, cozy chaos. Also follow me on Twitch, because that's going to be starting next year, and you definitely don't want to miss out on when I start streaming. And again, a massive thank you to Audible for sponsoring today's video. If you use the link in my description, you can get a free 30-day trial to Audible, and also get David Copperfield included in your subscription, and you get a credit that you can use to redeem against any title, which you can listen to anytime, anywhere. I am just so glad I did one of these sit downs again, because it's been such a long time and I really needed to do one of these and just sit down with you and just talk about what I want to do next year, because now that I've said it, now that I've put it into existence, it means that all of you can help hold me accountable for it. So yeah, I guess until the next time, bye besties.